So we got a exciting donation the other day. I think I told you guys about it, and it wasn't a lot of money or anything. However, it it helped us to kind of get connected with this new transition or this new group that's coming on the world stage, and that's what I'm going to kind of talk about on this particular episode. There's a new group coming on the world stage, and I know you may see the same faces. What you guys don't realize is that the faces a lot of times stay the same, but the entities and the beings that are channeling those faces or controlling those faces are a lot of times different. And you will never really get in tune with this aspect of society unless you have formally been initiated into the occult. Reason being is because you have to totally let go of everything that they taught you growing up in religion or growing up in the schools and stuff that we were brought up into, and even going into just mainstream society stuff they taught you in corporate America. You got to let go of all of that before you can even see this society. See, you can look at something and be looking at it, and I can look at it, and we can see two totally different things. Like you might be looking at something, and to you that something is worth nothing. It's nothingness. And another person might come along and look at that same thing, and then turn around 3 years later and say, "Yo, I made $1 million off that thing right there. That looks like nothing. I made $3 million off of that." And I had to start embracing this mentality for me because being an astrologer, it's a rough path. And there's not a lot of people, especially at this time, that are conscious of this knowledge. So with that, your social circle is very small. When we have a small social circle, you're not limited to how much you can attract, but you may be limited to the sphere of people that you're around. So I had to change my mentality. I had to start looking at things that may be worth nothing and find value in them. And this is how I got to this point where I'm at. And I'll do more videos talking about that, but I want to kind of talk to you about this new group. They came to me first. And I tell people around here all the time, they think I'm just a nobody, but I'm like, if you want to get on this world stage through the occult aspect, you're going to have to see me. And I'm not trying to be arrogant or anything like that, but that's the situation that I was put into based on this ritual that I'm going to tell you guys about, that I started doing a long time ago, like years ago, right? And I started channeling her. And I'm not going to say her name on this. I may put it in the title, but I'm not going to say it on the episode. But you guys that are watching can see. So when I started channeling her, it was like, well, the way it started was that I wanted money. I wanted to be able to show something from consciousness. Like I had came from the streets. And I didn't make a lot of money like a lot of people did or whatever, but I definitely touched hundreds of thousands of dollars in my day, right? So when I came into the conscious realm all the way, I mean, I've always been conscious, but when I decided to give my life to this, like totally give up on all that and give my life to this, I'm like, I'm not going to give up on wealth and abundance though, because I don't think that it's fair if a person has all of this knowledge about science and knowledge about UCCs and wisdom about astrology and astronomy and knowledge about Kemet and knowledge about different languages, whether it be Hebrew or Arabic, and if a person has all of this knowledge, why aren't they able to at least produce wealth for themselves? They don't have to be wealthy to other people, but why can't they in themselves be happy and wealthy? Because I met a lot of teachers in my day. I met most of all your top-ranking teachers. I've met them already. And most of them at that time when I met them, they were struggling. I'm not saying all of them, but majority of them had struggles, whether it was in their relationships, with their sexuality, or with their finances. And I needed a holistic approach. So I started dating that particular entity that I started showing you. And yes, I'm saying dating. Because when I started channeling her, I had to actually, she taught me, first and foremost, your approach in looking at women is all wrong. You're looking at women totally in the wrong light. Society has taught you the wrong way to look at women. she informed me that she was a counterpart, or kind of like a sister wife, to a particular deity that had wives that this deity never even physically met. Yet he was taking care of. He never even touched these women. Never had sex with them, never anything like that. Yet he was financially taking care of these women, and that's the mentality for years, like 30 or 40 years, right? So she started initiating me to all these different types of rituals, and I'll tell you guys about that type of stuff later. But I'm bringing this up for a reason, because I didn't know it was going to get this deep. So I went through, some bad relationships in the midst of me going through this initiation with her. I never really told any of my relationship partners that I was dating, a deity, an entity, because of course they're going to, one, think you crazy a lot of times, because they're like, this person, what are you talking about? An entity? I'm right here, I'm physical, what do you mean? But it's like, you dealing with an entity. To me, this entity is real, because she came on the scene and started showing me different stuff about myself. And at certain points, I felt like I was going nuts. And at other points, I felt like I was the wisest person in the world. However, I had to be an open vessel to take on this particular entity, to take on this incarnation. It's actually a female entity that works with 3 males, actually. And I had to take on a group of entities through her, though, through dating this particular entity or whatever. So she changed me or whatever, and she showed me a lot about relationships, of which I'll talk about. And at the time, I didn't know that what she was sharing with me about relationships, I didn't know that this was something that was going to end up being the political setting. If you want to be in a relationship, from what's coming, and I'm going to tell you guys in a minute, from what's about to come, and I'm going to shut this video down. If you are going to get in a healthy relationship, fuck all of this other stuff that these people are doing. I'm saying a healthy, functional relationship where you prospering with this person, as well as getting your needs fulfilled and, everything that you need, or with this group of people maybe even, because that's what I'm going to get into. You're going to have to embrace the unseen. And this type of relationship is going to be the only way to politically function, based upon the way this country was really, truly set up. Not going to be a politically function anymore in what we call these Christian, religious type of relationships. And I'm going to talk more about that, because this is really about relationships, but I'm merging into that eventually. So, make a long story short, I'm still doing the initiations with her, because she hasn't left the scene. She's like, no, you haven't finished. And mind you, I started this over 15 years ago. I never told anyone about this. She's like, nah, you not finished. Boom, because look, I got somebody for you to meet. 3 days later, I met somebody tied into the politics. I can't explain everything, but tied into the politics of what's going on with this election. Basically with the presidency. Because they said they had to come to me and see me in order for them to go to the next level. They told me this in their politics, and they wish me well in what I do, and I wish them well. But she told me this years ago, when I didn't even know anything about none of this stuff I'm telling you now. And they had to give me, a little something or whatever as an energy exchange. However, I'm not going to say who it was, I met somebody on the world stage. They sent a recruit to me. It started out with a robotoid, believe it or not. And eventually I met the physical person. And this person is either way going to be the person that's sitting in that seat. Once the smoke clears, I guarantee you that. This is going to be the person that's sitting in that presidential seat. Regardless to who wins. You may be saying, what the fuck are you talking about, Ram Hotel? I'm lost. See, what you guys don't realize is, I tried to explain this to you, these politicians wear masks. And to really understand this, you can get this book that I was really first hip to this when I was 9 years old by a teacher. I was telling one of my family members about this particular teacher. Hit me onto this book about my 3rd grade teacher is an alien, or my 4th grade teacher, I believe, is an alien, something like that. And in this book, the teacher wore a mask and was switching out their face at night, and the students didn't know this, so the teacher didn't look the way that they looked at school. And I thought this stuff was mythology. Would come to find out, I started researching, and that's what these politicians are doing. And that's how they really rule. So like I said, the faces may stay the same, but who's up in there? So who's really in control? That's what it's coming down to. And not only that, once this plays out, how are you going to survive? Not being able to be in a because what's playing out is actually one of those candidates is channeling that particular entity that I showed you. One of those candidates, this is a play going on. You see 3 males and a female right now. One of the candidates has a vice that's going to be a female, and then of course the other 2 candidates are males on the other side of the political scene. I'm not trying to use a lot of names here because for different reasons. For different reasons, I'm not going to say why. Not for fear, but for different reasons. So you have these candidates, right? But this is a stage. You got 3 males and a female, right? And you had 3 males and a female before. Remember the last election before. Who's doing this? What is this channeling leading to? What's the world stage going to look like once this is complete? Because she's going to come through. So that's what I'm going to get into in future episodes. See, if you can't understand UCCs and none of this stuff until you first fully understand occult ritual from the Egyptian Kemetic perspective, from the Vedic perspective, from the Indian perspective, if you want to call it that, or the Hindu perspective, from the Ethiopian or Ether perspective. See, she was a part of Ennead. She was an Ennead. She was a part of a group of 9 people, entities. I'm going to get into that because it's really 90 states. Actually, it's not 50 states. But I'm going to talk about that. She was a part of a group of 9 for a reason. See, till you know this stuff, you lost. We're lost. Because, like I said, it's not a lot of money in this until you make money for yourself. So I'm going to have to expand the knowledge of the way this is being taught so that we can attract more younger people that can make something for themselves so we can add to the wealth of this wisdom. So as always, stay vigilant, stay wise, and I'll be coming back up with you with this info. Namaste.